lessons that I learned from live streaming every day for the last 35 days. Hey, this is Melvin here, and welcome to episode 36. It's been quite a feat, actually, episode 36, to come and think of it. It has been a wild ride, and I would say that, the way that I have been doing it, I have really, really learned a great deal. And I think what's most important thing is that I'm having a good time, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm able to kind of leverage this platform and to see where I can go with that. So once again, if you have wanted to, use the live streaming as a platform to reach out to your people, then definitely you want to check out this this video itself, because I'm going to share with you a few things about what we can do here. And I think what's more important is that I want to be able to give you a sense of what to expect, right? So for those of you who are on LinkedIn or Facebook, please leave me a comment. Let me know that you can hear me good. All right. So there are 5 lessons here that I would want to share with you. And, it goes like this. So first, in case you didn't know, what happened was that I wanted to take advantage of the fact that, we were all locked in. And because we were all locked in during that point in time, I was kind of, really thinking like, how, what can I do with my time? And so one of the key things that I really wanted to do was that I wanted to be able to leverage video in a different way, because at the point in time, when we were locked in, we couldn't really go out, and I didn't really want to go out and make videos at the same time, right? So I was looking at how else I could do it, and so I experimented with a few things, and I would say that the one that really, really got me excited was to use live stream. And so I then decided that maybe I will want to make that commitment to do a live stream every day. And so somewhere in May, I decided that, hey, I'm going to do the live stream every day. The idea was crazy. The idea was, I think it was madness, because, to do a live stream requires a fair bit of work. It is not as simple as, you just flip on your camera and you just start talking, because first thing first, people are going to say like, what are you going to be talking about? And the other thing is that you have to be engaging on the video itself, especially when you are going live, because otherwise it's kind of difficult for people to want to be, watching you. And so I wanted to share with you, the 5 key lessons that I've learned from, making videos, making live stream videos in the last 35 days itself. So here goes the 5 lesson, right? So lesson number 1, it's always be prepared, right? Always be prepared. Never imagine that you would be such a brilliant person. I mean, I know you are, but never think that you are going to be so brilliant to the extent that you are going to be prepared and you know exactly what to say. All right. I mean, to be frank, there are times whereby I kind of have lost for words. I didn't know what to say, and it became very evident that I was obviously not on top of my game, and so it was difficult to be going live and knowing exactly what to say at the same time. Unless you have a lot of training in that area, it's going to be really, really tough, right? So I would say number one is to be prepared. Now, how do you prepare yourself? So there are a few things that you really want to do. One is you want to be able to be clear what are the things that you want to talk about. And what I like to do is I like to prime my audience in right from the start that these are the things that I'm going to be sharing with you. So, within the first couple of seconds itself, people want to know whether it's going to be worth their time watching you. And if it is, then, they are going to follow. If not, then they're going to leave. Right. So I think it's very important. One part is to prime people in and to ask them and to tell them exactly what is it that you will be talking about. Right. So that's number one. Number two, to get yourself prepared is that you probably won't need a script, but what you want to do is that you want to be able to have some pointers in front of you. And based on the pointers itself, you want to be able to rehearse and know that, this things are the things that you're going to be talking about, right? So it's something that I would say, it's not going to come natural for many of us. And so that's something that you really, really need to be prepared. So always be prepared, right? Number one is you must have an idea of what you want to say. And number two is also that you must be able to prime your audience what you are going to say. So at least, they can decide whether they are going to be there to hear you out, right? Hi, Georgia. How's everything with you? Right. It's good to know you. And thanks for leaving a message. Really great to see people here on LinkedIn. So that is lesson number one. Now, lesson number two, it's really about, what I would say. Lesson number two is you want to know that you will get better. Right? That you will get better. And the only way that you will get better is that you need to have some kind of a standard for yourself, right? You will get better in the sense that if you are constantly evaluating yourself and you are constantly looking at what are some of the things that you can do better, you will become better. So if you go back to my live stream, episode 1 itself, I'm pretty sure, you will see that when it comes to the setup and the way that it's being run, it really looks amateurish, right? But the point is that I didn't care at a point in time because I really wanted to be able to just get it out there. I didn't want to be, overthinking things. And so, I thought it was important, right, to just get it out itself. But in addition to that, what I wanted to make sure was that, I wanted to make sure that with each video itself, with each live stream, you want to be able to notice the subtle changes, right? The subtle improvements. And this kind of gives people, a sense of progression. And if someone is going to be watching you, as you journey through the whole process itself, they're going to notice that it's not going to be too daunting, and they can see that it's something that it's doable for them as well. So the key idea here is that you want to get better, and the only way that you can get better is that you look at you review every show, and you kind of ask yourself, right, like, what is it that I can do better? Sometimes, doing better is just to have better lighting. Sometimes to do better is the way that you present your content. Sometimes doing better means that how you engage with your audience, right? So like Georgia said that preparation is important to stay on track and to create a strong message, right? Which is absolutely what I was talking about. So as I look back at some of the videos that I have done during the live stream itself, I noticed that there were some things sometimes where I was just babbling on, and even myself, I kind of like, I don't know where you're going with this. But at least once you have that preparation itself, you have that key points to fall back on, to go back to, and you will not go all over the shop. All right, so that's lesson number 2. Now, lesson number 3, I think, is an interesting one, and let me type that out. Lesson number 3 is think mini-series instead of blockbuster. Right, so think mini-series instead of blockbuster. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Now, a lot of time when I was just first starting live streaming, I think the idea was that I wanted to be able to create that one live stream video and have things jam-packed inside it. And then I noticed that it was going to be increasingly quite difficult, because if you are going to be doing it on a daily basis, I'm not so sure about you, but for me, at some point in time, I have a little bit of a problem, not knowing what to say, right? And so instead of thinking of like, individual episodes itself, what I have done, and I find that to be way more effective, is to think of it as a mini-series. So as you all know, the difference between a blockbuster. A blockbuster is like a one movie, one film, and that one film is going to deliver everything itself, right? Whereas a mini-series is a series of mini episodes that will give you, each episode will give you some beats of the good thing, right? And so, the way to think about the mini episode, it's really crucial, because that's where you are able to hopefully get people to want to come back to watching you on a daily basis. That is, if you are doing daily crazy like me, you that's something that you may want to do. If you are, of course, if you are looking at, let's say, having, let's say you have an objective that you want to meet, then you want to be able to plan your individual episodes and to kind of lead up to that process itself. So if I can give you an example right now, there is 2 days back, I just launched my what I call Build Your Flywheel mini audio course. Now, the Build Your Flywheel audio mini course is a 4-part audio course. And this course itself, what it does is that it teaches you or shares with you the importance and why you should be building your flywheel. So in a nutshell, I'm not going to go into detail, but in a nutshell, a flywheel, it's different steps that you will put in your business, right? Different processes that you're going to put in your business. And as you put these processes in your business, it's going to help you create momentum. And as it creates momentum itself, it's then going to contribute positively to your business, right? And so, the 4-part essentially is to kind of teaches you that whole process itself. How do you identify what are the key components that you need to put into in this flywheel in the process of helping you get customers? What are the components that you need to, get in place? Secondly, it's why these components are crucial, especially in this time when we are facing this pandemic. And of course, thirdly, it's to be able to know that you can actually put all this together without expensive and risky software development. And so in that whole process itself, that is the end goal. And what I did was that I kind of did a series of mini episodes, and each episode kind of built upon the other, and it all leads to the launch of the Build Your Flywheel, right? And so I'm pretty stoked that Build Your Flywheel has launched to my expectation, and I am glad that it's seeing some form of traction. I'm getting feedback from people who have listened to the audio course itself, and I'm continuously changing and making sure that things get better, right? So think of it as a mini series. Think of your live stream as a mini series instead of thinking of it as a blockbuster. So that is lesson number 3. Now, lesson number 4 is something that I think many of you would be familiar with, and this goes to show for all the different kind of content that you are creating. Now, especially during this time, during the pandemic itself, there are a lot of people who are just going out there and putting out content, right? And so, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that you are seeing a plethora of people coming out and doing, live session and all that good stuff, right? Nothing wrong with that. The only problem is that, when you have so much of the content and you are not able to, consume every single piece of it. And so what you will inevitably have to do is to, allocate your resource, which is your attention. You have to allocate your resource in such a way that, it gives you the most optimal returns, right? I mean, I do not want to be, spending time watching 35 minutes of you rambling on, and then at the end of the day, I don't get anything out of it, right? And so, and so this part here really is to be very clear that at the end of the day, the content that you put out has to solve problem, right? And when we say solve problem, I think that's something that everyone here, I believe every single one of you here who are content creator, you get it, right? What does it mean by solve problem? But what exactly does it mean by solving problem? Now, what I really like to do is not to just talk about what is it that you can do, right? What is it that you can do? Because I believe that many people up until now, right? Many people have experienced the what. People know the concept. People know the ideas. People know the things that they must do. What it's clearly lacking is the how to do it, right? The how to do it. So people know that if I'm going to put out content, my content has to solve problem. Yeah, I get it. I know. But how do I solve problems, right? How do I solve problems? So the best way that I see in terms of the best way that I would approach this part about solving problem is that, I will talk to my audience. I would talk to my connections. I would talk to people on Twitter and, all the different places. And the main objective that I want to achieve is this. I want to be able to ask them a very simple question. And that very simple question is, what is your single greatest challenge right now in your business? Now, of course, during the COVID-19 lockdown, it wasn't a problem because, right, I mean, most people would be facing some kind of a problem with their business, because they are not able to complete the transaction in person. And so as a result of that, they can't get paid. And if they can't get paid, they have no revenue, and on and on and on. So, and there are certain feel that would require a face-to-face interaction. Okay, and so it wasn't difficult to talk to some of these people and ask them, hey, what problems are you facing, and then from there to understand what the problems are and to be able to help them with their solution. And so along the way, during the pandemic lockdown itself, I met a lot of people on LinkedIn, and one of the key things that I asked them was, what is your single greatest challenge in your business right now? And with some of them, I've been able to kind of really help them do up a very simple landing page, show them where they can do that for free, get something up. And it's really about the ability to help them to be able to say that, hey, I can help you solve a problem. And then with that itself, you then get a story to tell, right? Like what I'm doing with you right now. I'm not just telling you at the conceptual level that you have to solve problem, but I'm also illustrating what you can do to solve problem. And like what George is saying, yes, absolutely right. It's about starting conversations with people. And I cannot tell you how important that is, because despite the fact that this is social media and we say that, well, you come in here, but being a connection on LinkedIn and engaging with each other's posts, it's one thing, but to really get down to talking to them, right? I mean, in a 15 minutes call, in a 30 minutes call, the mileage is different, right? So like last night, I and another LinkedIn connection, a long-time LinkedIn connection of mine, we just sat down and we talked about, what's going on in our life. And I was sharing with him what I was doing, and he was sharing with me what he was doing, and, the kind of struggles that we face. I mean, let's face it, right? We all have our own struggles in some way, shape, and form, and so, it's really to be able to talk to people and then to find out what is their problem. And sometimes you can solve that problem, that is good. Sometimes they may be able to hire you to do that, which is well and good. Sometimes, they may not be in that position to do that at the point in time. It may be a timing, it may be a finance, it may be, they're just not ready. So, that's fine, but at least you build that relationship. At least you build that connection with people. All right. And so that's lesson number 4. And lesson number 5 is something that it's very, very interesting for me. Why I say it's very interesting for me, because, I've always had that idea that you shouldn't be selling online, especially on social media itself. It's like, it's bad taste kind of thing. I've always had that idea. I do not know why, but of late, one of the things that I notice is that you can sell, but if your main aim when you come online is to sell, then I think that I feel quite differently about that, right? Of course, you can do that. I mean, it's your prerogative. For example, during the lockdown, I was connecting with a lot of people, and I also had a fair bit of new connection requests. And then there was this lady, right, who connected with me. She's from Singapore as well. And the moment we got connected, immediately she sends me a message saying that she does personal branding for speakers and influencers, right? And she say that maybe we could work together. I mean, right? I mean, I'm not born yesterday. That's just purely a pitch. But the problem is that the way I look at it is that twofold, right? Number one is you don't even know nothing about me, right? And so why are you hitting me up the first time we connect? Like what George said, maybe you should start the conversation. Maybe you should just make small talk, right? But genuinely be interested in people, right? Ask people questions, ask them how are they, especially during this time, during the pandemic. I'm very sure, many people might put up a brave front, but many of us, myself included, we all have issues, right? And so, right off the bat, she connected with me, and the next thing is she's like asking me, um, hey, can I do this for you? And this is what I do. So, I mean, I didn't want to be nasty. I didn't want to be. I mean, I understand we all have a living to make, right? I mean, that's why we are here. But there is a good way and there is a better way. So, I believe that she might fall into the category of there are people who are on LinkedIn specifically. The reason why they want to connect with you is because they want to sell you something. Now that is fine, right? Let's agree that that is fine. But I think what is not fine is, the first time you connect with someone, you want to sell that person. All right, that is not fine. Now, so I believe in getting in touch with the person, really finding out what are their struggles, and then from there to see whether is there a way to help them. Likewise, on the live stream itself, I believe that, like I said, we're all here to make a living. We are all here to make a difference. We all here to make an impact, and we also need to make an income as well, right? So granted, we're all here to sell, but how exactly do you sell, and how exactly do you make the offer? I think that is something that it's quite a thing to learn. So if I can give you an example, many years back, there was this soap company in Cincinnati called P&G. They wanted to launch their new product, which is soap, washing detergent. And so instead of putting up an ad in the radio itself, because at the point in time that was the new medium, what they did was they did content marketing. So they actually sponsored a mini series whereby the heroine in that mini series was actually the real hero. Although many a time people would think that it's the men, right? But the real hero is actually this heroine at home, and she's doing all this thing for her family, and one of it is she really want to make sure that their clothes are clean. And so it's purely product placement, and word has it that that's the origin of the term soap opera, right? And so I mean, they went and sell a ton of soap powder, right? And they probably would have achieved a similar effect, but probably a higher level of investment if they have taken the other route, which is just pure advertisement, and not make connection with the people, right? So they use stories, they use good old content marketing to connect with the audience. And so when the audience buy that product, it's not just buying the product, but it's like they are vested in that product itself. They can see themselves, they can relate to the character in the mini series, and so that's also making an offer, right? I mean, they obviously do not sponsor that just to make you happy, right? They are there to make an income too, right? And so the thing is, once you are able to kind of do it that way, people have that stronger connection, right? Yeah, like what George is saying, a lot of time we behave, we behave kind of strange, right? I mean, like, on LinkedIn, it's a place whereby, I see this all the time. You connect with someone, and then they don't send you a personal message, but you kind of find that, okay, this person is interesting, so you accept their connection request. And then you send them a message like, hi, Peter, how's everything going? And then it's silence, right? It's silence they do not reply to you, and I'm like, it's like going to a networking session. The person comes up to you and shove his or her name card in your hands, and then walk away, and don't even want to make a conversation at all. I mean, I don't know. It's like these people are just collecting name cards, and in this online world, is just collecting connection requests. I don't know. I don't know. But let's not talk about that. But let's talk about you, right? So I believe that there is a better way to make an offer. Like if you notice during this live stream itself, I actually made an offer without making an offer itself. Right? I told you what I was doing and something that you should go check it out. And if that kind of resonated with you and you find that, hey, that's something that I've been thinking about. Hey, how do I build an automated marketing system, very quickly and very cheaply, just to test ideas and bump, so I can, get my ideas out. Then you will want to check it out. But if that is not something that is relevant to you, you wouldn't check it out. And so, I noticed that even on webinars itself, people would say that, well, they are so frustrated that a 45 minutes webinar, it's 20 minutes of humble brag, another 5 minutes, maybe another 15 minutes of talking about what the thing is, and then the rest of it is just upselling you to an online course or some mastermind group, the kind of thing. And like I said, I mean, we are all here to make a living, right? So there's nothing wrong with wanting to sell, right? Let's get that out of the way. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way that we do it, that is something that we could, make it better. So, when I ran my last webinar, which was, I ran a webinar on how I've been using LinkedIn, especially in the early part of this year, and how that helped me. That put me in quite a good spot during the COVID-19 lockdown itself. And the reason why it put me in quite a good spot was because I was making connection. I was asking people, what are their struggles? What problems were they facing? And that was pre-COVID-19. So people were a little bit more optimistic about what's going on itself. But when COVID-19 hit and, all over the world, we went into some kind of a lockdown. And when I get back to them, these people were happy to talk to me, right? Otherwise, they will be like, oh, you only want to talk to me now because, you've got nothing else better to do. I don't know, right? So it's okay to make an offer. Excuse me. It's just the way you do it. So during the webinar itself, I was sharing, how I'm doing it. But upfront, even before at the registration part, I tell them that, I will be making you an offer because, this is what I do. People pay me for advice, right? I will make you an offer, but if it's relevant to you, fine, take it out. But if it's not, then ignore that. But know that when you come to the webinar, I'm going to show you the techniques. I'm going to show you the tools that I use to get the job done, right? So once again, if you are interested, I have a webinar that is going on, and that is wait, I can't remember now. I'm sorry. It's getting late and I'm tired. But I have a webinar that it's going now, and what I will be doing on the webinar itself is that I will be sharing with you, if you have been wondering, like, you want to create an online course and you do not know if if people want to learn what you have to teach, then this webinar is something that you want to consider, because I'm going to share with you the steps that I take to get people to really know what is it that people are looking out for. Okay, so if you want to check it out, if not, you won't, right? So let me try this. The URL is here, okay, and you can check it out and see if that's something that is for you. There is a modest investment for that, and but you're getting a great deal And I hope, I believe that that is a great skill to have. All right, now that's it for me. Today, I am using Restream as the gateway to do this live stream. This is my first time using it after they have revamped. I was previously using StreamYard. I kind of like it, but there are some things that I need to get used to. But if you're from Restream, please reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to give you a shout out and to talk more about the product itself. All right, and with that, this is Melvin from the Melvin Live Show. And let me know if there is something that you'd like me to cover. And once again, thank you, Kasim. I hope I got your name right, and Georgia for being here and engaging and leaving me messages and also chiming in and sharing your opinion about what I've said. So these are the 5 lessons. If you're looking to do a live stream as well, do check out my website because I have some tips there for you. If not, I'll see you on the next one. Right? Thank you, Georgia. I'll see you. Take care.